Hey guys, welcome back. Have you guys ever had a dream so vivid and so clear you felt as though it was trying to tell you something? What if I told you that some of the greatest breakthroughs have come from Einstein's theories, science, the periodic table, and the list goes on. So in essence, dreams aren't just images. They're actually a gateway to our subconscious, a hidden chest of ideas, solutions, and untapped creativity. In today's video, we're going to talk about how you can harness the power of your dreams. Yes, even lucid dream, not only to solve your problem in your waking life, but to unlock the creative genius that might be hiding beneath the surface. So what are the benefits of lucid dreaming? First and foremost is creative problem solving. One popular story suggests that Einstein would hold a spoon or an object in his hand during meditation or problem solving and let it fall when he drifted into a light sleep, which would wake himself up to capture any creative thoughts or insights from his subconscious mind. There's this space between falling asleep or nearly falling asleep and being awake. And I recall when I started this journey of lucid dreaming or becoming more aware of my dream, I would wake up once in the morning. What would happen is that I would kind of drift back to sleep. But those were the dreams that were the most vivid. And those were the moments that I was slightly awake to the point where I could be aware that I was dreaming more often than not. So techniques like the one described, holding an object to wake oneself up as sleep begins, might tap into the hypnagogic state, which is the transition between wakefulness and sleep. So rather than REM sleep, this state is known for fostering creative ideas and unlocking subconscious thoughts, which is crazy. This is literally all new to me and I am just mind blown right now. It unlocks subconscious thoughts as it's a period when the mind is still somewhat conscious but highly imaginative. During REM sleep, so rapid eye movement, that's where there's deeper cognitive processing that occurs. This technique, hypnagogic state, makes me think of Albert Einstein's quote. And he said that you can't solve a problem from the same state of mind that you had when you had the problem. I've got to find it. Let me look for it. We cannot solve problems with the same level of thinking that we were when we created them. So freaking crazy. This is fascinating. Another benefit is that this process allows us to heal emotionally by replaying and recontextualizing emotional events in a dream state. We often reduce their intensity, which can aid in the recovery from trauma or distress. It's like the brain is gently sorting through and filing emotional rough drafts, which totally makes sense because before I was able to become aware and also be more the observer, it was like this evolution of getting to the point of being able to lucid dream. And I noticed that prior to this occurrence of lucid dreaming, I always felt as if my dreams were controlling me. I would be in a situation where I felt as though I was out of control. And since I had that epiphany 2 weeks ago, you can watch the other video that I just posted, this one frame of thought literally has me lucid dreaming every night. Now I am in control and I'm so aware of my subconscious thoughts and my patterns that now I can be very present in my dream life. And I can even read, and things are so vivid and so clear that it truly feels like I'm being fed information. And this all makes sense because our brain and our mind has the ability to solidify and solve problems for us in our dream life. That's literally what it's doing. It's when we're sleeping, we're healing our body and our muscles are recovering if they're sore and if we worked out, and our minds are doing the same exact thing. And people don't realize the importance of sleep and how much it actually affects our lives. And I think I read this article about how, I'm gonna look it up. So according to the CDC, around 33% of American adults are not getting enough sleep on a regular basis, meaning they're considered sleep deprived. This translates to roughly 35% of adults reporting sleep being less than 7 hours per night on average. Most studies define not enough sleep as sleeping less than 7 hours per night. Okay, so this process also helps us find meaning in everything. Finding purpose, finding clarity, finding solutions to our everyday life and to our internal thought patterns and our internal thoughts that we might be confused about. Our subconscious explores and tests associations, seeking patterns that align with our existing mental framework. This is how we sometimes wake up with an unexpected solution to a problem or new clarity about a situation. I'm going to tell you about this dream that I had last night. I was kind of shocked because I saw the word Steinberg in my dream, and I've been reflecting a lot about dreams as of late because the shift in perspective, the shift in my lucid dreaming completely changed my life. Now, when I wake, I feel this sense of clarity, clarity in thought, excitement. It's almost like this sense of adventure. Of course, I ended up looking into the meaning and or even the location, and the setting of this dream actually was in this small town. It felt like I was in Sweden or Germany. But this place that I looked up, Steinberg, was at the tip of Germany. There's like water there. So it felt like a little small fishing town. Like I said, in this dream state, I was still very just observing everything that's transpiring in that space. Another benefit of lucid dreaming is that it allows you to overcome fears. And this is so true because when I think of the times when I wasn't lucid dreaming and I felt this lack of control in my everyday life, like my waking life, there was always a sense of me feeling like I was being controlled and I wasn't in control of myself. And I would just be put in situations, whether that be me having to use the restroom and then having to walk barefoot across the way to get somewhere. Like there's weird, strange dreams like that I've had, and oftentimes they've been recurring. And in the past, I haven't had one in 2 weeks since I had that epiphany, but facing nightmares or phobias in a safe environment. Being in a dream is technically a very safe environment. And when we have these nightmares, they allow us to be courageous and to face the fear and to just go through it, because sometimes the only way to face a fear is to grow through it. And without that experience and without those challenges, how do we grow? It's like the same in waking life. We don't truly get to know whether or not we can handle or face a challenge until we actually go through it. There's also this aspect of skill enhancement, practicing real world skills. That goes back to being courageous and having these different experiences that we wouldn't have in everyday life. Okay, so I love this aspect of overcoming our fears, because how do we know we can face a challenge if we don't actually go through it? When I think about my real life and my everyday life, when I am faced with a challenge now, rather than viewing this challenge as something negative, I'm constantly reframing my mind to resonate with viewing this challenge as a way to grow through it and to experience it and to understand that this is only going to make me a better person, and this is only going to make me a stronger, more courageous person. There's this sense of knowing and trusting that I can handle any given situation in my waking life, that I think that it's literally filtered through into my subconscious. That's why I believe that I have this control in my subconscious mind, because naturally that's just like what I have shifted my perspective on thinking, is that when I'm faced with somebody who is challenging, whether that be at work, whether that be in a friendship, with my family, it could be anything. And now when I'm faced with that, I actually get very grounded within myself, and I just build that strength to hold my peace and to not engage with things that don't matter. So the moment that there's a challenge, I actually have this immediate habitual way of thinking. I'm like, it's almost like this question of is this worth it? Is this emotional turmoil worth engaging in this practice of getting upset with this person, or throwing out a negative vibration, or say someone says something negative to me, am I going to say something negative to them so that they'll become more negative, and naturally I will not feel as good either? Or am I going to stand my ground, and when somebody says something negative, I kind of just stay neutral? I don't need to add and people please. I don't need to engage and get down to their level. I can just stay neutral. And that's what I've done in my waking life. And I think that has also shifted. It's created this skill of being able to stay resilient and stay grounded in my own peace and my own peace of mind. Because at the end of the day, we know how, I can't mention this enough, I'm sure we all have experienced an array of emotions by the time I am 37. By the time we reach a certain age, we have experienced so many emotions, and it's with that experience we can decide for ourselves if we want to move down the path of staying in that negative vibration and waking up every day and continually living that negative life, or we can wake up every day and decide for ourselves that we're gonna sit in the driver's seat of our life and decide that, you know what, things are constantly changing. We can change. Everything in nature is constantly changing. We don't need to attach ourselves to who we were yesterday. We've grown from that. We've literally slept, and now it's a new day, and our bodies have regenerated and have compiled all of these memories and the things that we've acquired yesterday and throughout the night, and now we're literally somebody new. Like, if somebody in the video, which I really appreciate, I'm like so shocked at the intellect on this channel and the people that have commented and how emotionally intelligent and aware you guys are. It's honestly so fascinating. But so I really appreciate it, and I love reading the comments. But somebody said that we live every day, but we die once. And I don't want to go too deep into that, because I know that there are so many theories, but if we just focus on that fact that things are constantly changing, and you know, there's this idea of like seizing the day, carpe diem, and the idea almost makes you believe that like we wake up and we live another day, and that is honestly a blessing, and it's such a gift. And it's like an opportunity. But then if we die once in this life, then doesn't that mean that we're kind of preparing ourselves for that death? You know, Like, and we don't need to go into what happens after that death, because there's this, we could be souls. But I think it's something to really reflect on and to question. How my meditation teacher said this, and it's wild. When you close your eyes and you imagine where your body is, you separate your mind from your body. And like, where is your mind anyway? And where is your body? So like, I imagine my mind is kind of up here. It feels like it's up here. But there's this aspect where I feel like it could be even wider and expansive, but my body is grounded on earth. My body is from earth, but my mind feels so expansive sometimes. And that's actually, there's, people are talking about like astral projection and what have you. And with astral projection, I did always feel as though, like when I was playing with some techniques back in the day, like I think it was maybe like several years ago, before I got here, before I realized, I think I was a little bit more into, like, people would call it like woo-woo, a little bit conspiracy theory stuff, but it was just the beginning of my spiritual growth. So this concept of closing your eyes, or before I'd go to sleep, I would close my eyes and I would almost imagine like a camera being on like myself and then somehow zooming out. So like going all the way out into space. So it's kind of like this bird's eye view of viewing myself, of where I was, which direction my head was facing, this house that I was living in, and then expanding out into the city, and then like even expanding further out. And I wonder if that's almost like this take on truly grasping what our minds are capable of, is that we're actually so expansive, and we can actually expand further than we believe. Sometimes how you feel like you're in this body, but you feel like you kind of expand further out. It's like there's this like auric field that you have, and that you are able to sort of enhance and, I don't know, experience. So another benefit of lucid dreaming is self-discovery. Being able to explore your inner thoughts or your emotions, and being able to explore that in your dreams, you kind of start. So once you get into the practice of understanding your dreams, when I first started this practice, I started off waking up and writing down all of my dreams. I had a dream journal, and I would say I did it for about a year or longer. And now I've been very mindful, but I feel like when I wake, I kind of hold on to those memories, and I start to do the questioning and the research and the analyzing of my dreams, and perhaps what transpired, why did it transpire, what is it potentially in relation to in my waking life. I actually write a lot of these ideas down, just like I did about Steinberg. So I think there's this like really exciting curiosity in life that I've always had, and I'm able to incorporate into my exploration of myself and my dreams through, it's kind of amazing to think like we have this waking life and then we have this dream life, and we can kind of merge them together. And I honestly feel that way now. Now I feel like I'm in my waking life, and then I go into my dream life, and then I go into my waking life, and it's just this constant like merge of the two. It's like thinking about chromosomes, like how they merge. So let's get into the techniques of how to train yourself into lucid dreaming. So I can give you some techniques. I've already kind of shared some, but some reality checks that I think is just truly getting into the habit of doing things. I think like in my waking life, I've gotten into the habit of doing some things that after, I think it's in The Power of Habit or Atomic Habits, where they state that it takes 90 days to build a habit. And so once you achieve that, I think it taps into your subconscious. And so it's kind of like that. So I think that you can practice doing this in your waking life. I'm very aware of, I don't think I've ever been, it's hard to say. I'm trying to think if I've ever been in waking life and felt like, oh my God, this is a dream, right? But it's funny, like the term dream also can be interpreted in so many different ways, whether that's your dream life or that's your, waking life. Like maybe your waking life is your dream life. Like there's so many ways you can go about it. But one technique is that you can ask yourself if you're dreaming. So in your waking life, you can get into the habit of being like, wow, is this a dream? Or like just get into the habit of that, and subconsciously, if you continuously do that, you might do that more in your dream life. Because that's usually how I have discovered that I'm dreaming, is that I will pinch myself and then I'll be like, I don't feel that. And immediately I know that I'm dreaming. I've also been in water and I will be like, oh, like I'm in water, but I don't feel wet. And that's when I'll be like, oh, this is a dream, so I can chill. And there's this level of comfort that you have when you realize that you are actually lucid dreaming. And so that's another technique that has worked for me. Another thing is dream journaling. Like I was mentioning earlier, I kept a dream journal for about a year and I continued to do that occasionally, but now I'm kind of doing stuff like this, writing down my thoughts, my ideas. Last but not least is this sort of meditation and mindfulness, because without those, it would be difficult to observe and get curious. So I think meditation and mindfulness is the first step. Because and learning how to control your emotions too, because our emotions can either take us down a positive path or a negative or a neutral at first. Sometimes you need to go down that neutral path before you move into that positive path, but it's all in your habits, it's all in your dreams and or what you wish for yourself. Okay, this is crazy. I'm reading this book, The Karma of Success, and I really love it. And I opened it up, I'm like, is there a message that I need to show? Open up this page, which is where I was at, and it says something about your dreams. So I'm gonna read this part. Your inner genius also needs self-awareness. If you think of your inner genius as your coach, then just like me with my clients, your inner genius has to really know you. It needs to transcend past the superficial layers of what you've done or how you appear to others and get to the meat of you. It's hungry for the juicy bits, your dreams, fears, insecurities, and shadows. It's funny that they put dreams, fears, insecurities, and shadows all together. And it always wants to understand how you are changing and transforming in the present moment, because that is literally all we have is the present moment. And people focus too much, I am guilty of this, focusing too much on I'll sit here and this, focusing too much on the past, focusing too much on the future of where you want to be, and then you're just constantly chasing that, like where you want to be and that person that you envision and imagine as where you want to be, instead of living in the present moment and acting as if you are that person in the future, like that you want to be. Like all you can do is focus on the present of how this person that you aspire to be will respond to every single thing that's transpiring in your life, all the challenges, all the, like for instance, if like I imagine that the person that I aspire to be is someone who's patient. And so in the face of a challenging person and having to communicate with a challenging person who has a tendency to get very emotional, to a default, I want to be that person that is able to help this person, but first, of course, help myself see more clearly and grasp that I can handle the situation and that perhaps they're going through something, and so I can be patient. And it's a shift in mindset of being like, oh, I can do this. And you know how, like, when you watch, I just thought of this, but when you see a baby, and you know how when a baby gets hurt and you kind of play into it as well, oh my God, like you hit your head, this and that, they start to cry. But if you project something positive, they actually will act as if they're okay. And maybe for a moment they won't, but oftentimes, like, I think that's how humans are. Like, a lot of people are projecting, and some people never get to understand or realize that they're being projected on. And that's why I think there's this concept of being an empath. It's like, you need to not take on other people's emotions, and you can choose to not engage. It's not your responsibility, and it's your emotions, and everybody's own emotions is their responsibility. And if we grasp that concept that we're not responsible for other people's emotions and reactions, then it kind of shifts everything in your life, because you don't need to feel the need to explain further of why they need to be this way or why they need to be that way, like, or why they're doing this and why they're doing that, like, that's wrong, this is right, like, this is the way to do it. Like, who's to say what's right and wrong? There's always, everybody has a path, and sometimes everybody needs to learn through their experience of it, and you can't like force someone to grow. They need to grow through it themselves. And so kind of went on a tangent, but let's continue this. The historical facts of your life are unimportant. The soulful parts are what matter, and they must matter to you. So those moments that you gain through experience and then gain knowledge and wisdom, I think that's what they're saying. The soulful parts are what matter, and they must matter to you too. Before the inner genius can know you, you must know yourself. Self-awareness, mindfulness. When someone is described as self-aware, it means they have a conscious knowledge of their own character, feelings, motivations, and desires. They look at themselves, they ask questions, they wonder how they got to being them, and ponder whether they should keep doing it. How self-aware do you think you are? In a study exploring how the self and others are conceptualized, social psychologist Richard Nisbett and his colleagues had university students describe themselves using the options in the table below. Okay, so there's energetic, relaxed, depends on the situation. Skeptical, trusting, depends on the situation. Quiet, talkative, depends on the situation. Intense, calm, depends on the situation. And I have to say right now that in my waking is to stay calm in every freaking situation that I'm given. Every single one. And it was not easy at the beginning, but it has definitely gone easier. And since I started meditating in January of this year, it's crazy that it's almost the end of the year. Since I started meditating, it's created more space between the thought and the feeling, that now I literally feel like when something occurs to me, my feelings are kind of not repressed, but my feelings are back here. And like my body is here, my body emotionally responds to how I'm feeling, but my my of engaging, like I'm actually, it goes through a process of elimination to decide whether or not this is worth engaging with, because it could potentially deter me from the path that I want to go on. We're given two paths every single day with all of the decision making that we have, and we can either choose the path that is more peaceful and more mindful and moves us towards our dreams and our wishes and our goals. Because imagine if you lived the life of your dreams and you decided today that you were going to walk and take one step in that direction. Is this little emotional outburst going to deter you from staying focused and staying clear? Yes, yes. Time and time again, I've lived that path and I've gone down that path so many times to the point where I'm like, it's not worth it anymore. And so I'm gonna choose this path because I know that if I go down this path of neutrality, positivity, it's only going to move me closer and closer to what matters. And that's my dreams and my wishes and my goals, which is to help others and also attain my dreams and also in turn help the people around me and my loved ones. So Nisbet discovered that the students tend to answer depends on the situation more frequently for themselves than they did for other people. So what does that say? That says that majority of the people in this life are reacting to situations as opposed to staying grounded in themselves and choosing and deciding that they're going to choose themselves and their clarity over reacting, like responding to a challenge in life. And that is unfortunate because being human entails solving problems. We will be faced with challenges day in and day out. So we can either choose for ourselves that we want to grow and we want to grow through it, and we need to have that mindset. This is like a philosophy and a way of living. And we need to shift that idea. Otherwise, we'll be deterred from our dreams. Nisbet discovered that students tended to answer depends on the situation more frequently for themselves than they did for other people, even strangers they've never met before. It seems that we are often more sure of who other people are than we are of ourselves. We can easily define the people around us, but have a much harder time when it comes to the self. So like these people don't have enough faith in themselves. Like we need to build that core. It's like when you strength train your core and you go to the gym, you need to constantly work on that. And it's the same thing with our mind. Like if we want to strengthen our mind so that we can have a clear head when we are faced with a business proposition, are faced with an endeavor, what have you, with work, career, it could be literally anything. We need to stay clear-headed. But I think majority of the planet's not. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to, everyone's trying their best and that's what matters. It's a funny thing, you spend so much of your time, actually all of it, with yourself. The self, which is made up of the body, mind, and spirit, is the only constant companion we'll have in life. So why is it that we spend so little time thinking about it when in school we were ever encouraged to learn about ourselves? We are given opportunities to study every subject under the sun, so why aren't we empowered to explore our inner selves too? Inner lives. It's like becoming a strong inner being this solid person that has integrity. And once you build that, once you strengthen that kindness, that compassion, that integrity, like doing the right thing or being a beacon of strength for the people in your world, you start to build this inner confidence, and you won't really understand that concept until you try it. The only way is to experience. My meditation teacher said one thing, And I'll tell you two things. Imagine and you want to go to that island there. If you are sailing and you just let your sails go and you just stop, where is your boat gonna go? So imagine that like your mind. If you just let your mind be affected by every single person coming into your life or walking past you or you're walking by, like imagine where you will go in life. You will be bounced around by the waves and you will end up somewhere you don't even know. But person sailing, they know where they want to go. They look at that spot and they focus on that spot. And they move their sails according to the direction of what comes, of the way that the wind blows. And that's like somebody training their mind to move through life in harmony with the waves, with the waves and with the wind and what's coming. That's just harmony. And what was the second thing that I was going to mention? Okay, so this analogy, I think, did my boyfriend tell me this? Anyway, it's a great one. If you imagine yourself like the tip of a ship, you know how like when it goes, the waves always part and you kind of like imagine yourself as the tip, and all whatever comes towards you, emotions, feelings, people, challenges, you imagine yourself as that ship. So everything just parts and it just goes past you. And I actually saw this random article about how there are like 5 people who literally sat on there, like on a ship, because they had that little ledge and they were able to sit there for like 7 days. I don't know why they were there in the first place, but it's kind of like powerful, you know? So yeah, but I hope you guys did too, and tell me about your experience and leave it in the comments, because I really love reading your comments, and maybe even tell me where you're from, and perhaps what books you've read, and yeah, if you want me to sort of bring up another topic on other things, let me know, but I'm really enjoying this. So sending all the love, and I'm wishing y'all the best day. Mwah.